Welcome to the International Student and Scholar Services Immigration Presentation. Today, we will be covering the following topics: immigration documents, maintaining status, enrollment requirements, and employment basics. Immigration documents. Passport. Your passport must be valid at all times while in the United States. Your passport must be valid for at least 6 months beyond your entry into the United States. We recommend you make copies of your passport and store them in a safe place. F1 and J1 student visa. Visas are issued by the US Department of State. Visas are required of all non-immigrants in order to study in the United States, except citizens of Canada and possibly Bermuda. You need the student visa to obtain permission to seek entry into the United States. Your visa does not indicate how long you can stay in the United States. Permission to enter only between date of issue and date of expiration date for specific number of entries. Your visa remains valid during OPT, a new program at DU, or transfer to another US institution. Your F1 or J1 student visa cannot be renewed inside the United States. As long as you are maintaining status and all other documents are valid and current, your visa may expire while you are in the United States. All F1 students will receive a Form I-20. Make sure you know your program end date and do not let it expire. And make sure to sign your Form I-20. I-20 travel signature. This is on the second page of your I-20. It establishes that you are maintaining status and eligible to re-enter the United States. The I-20 travel signature must be unexpired upon entry from abroad. The DS 2019 Certificate of Eligibility. The DS 2019 form establishes your lawful right to study in the United States. Your DS 2019 must be kept current throughout your program. The DS 2019 travel signature establishes that you are maintaining status and eligible to re-enter the United States. Your travel signature must be valid when you re-enter the United States from abroad. I-94 arrival record. Your I-94 is issued after you are granted admission into the United States. Class of admission indicates visa status. Admit until date indicates how long you can stay. DS stands for duration of status. A new I-94 record is generated for each entry into the United States. Make sure to review your I-94 to confirm details are correct. If any information is wrong, it will need to be corrected by Customs and Border Patrol at Denver International Airport. Maintaining immigration status. Enrollment requirements. To be a full-time student, graduate students must be enrolled in 8 credits per term. To be a full-time undergraduate student, you must be enrolled in 12 credits per term. If you are taking the minimum required hours, only 1 online class is allowed. A graduate student with 2 4-credit classes must have at least 1 on-campus course. for example. There are modifications to the enrollment requirements due to COVID-19 for winter quarter 2021. For winter quarter 2021, there is no limit to online classes for continuing students, and only one on-campus or hybrid class is required for new students. Vacation. The University of Denver operates on a quarter system: fall, winter, spring, and summer. One vacation per quarter per calendar year is allowed. Summer is the default vacation quarter. Non-summer vacation is an option available to students after one academic year. When you take non-summer vacation, you must intend to enroll the following quarter. Exceptions to full-time enrollment. You may be authorized for exceptions to full-time enrollment for academic reasons. This includes initial difficulties with the English language, initial difficulties with reading requirements, unfamiliarity with English teaching practices, or improper course level placement. Poor grades, work schedule conflict, and/or financial difficulties are not valid reasons. You must still enroll at least half-time. And it is only allowed once during your academic program. Additional options are final term of study or medical reason with letter from a doctor. Never drop below full-time without permission from ISSS. Please seek advice and prior permission from International Student and Scholar Services if you plan to register for less than full-time or drop a class, take online courses, take courses at another institution, also called concurrent enrollment, seek off-campus employment, take a leave of absence from DU, withdraw from DU, make changes to your I-20, transfer to another university, or need help with cultural adjustment. To submit a request to ISSS, please email isss@du.edu. A-form submissions are coming soon. Please allow 3 to 5 business days for processing. For more information about documents and requests, please visit du.edu/ISSS. When you arrive to the United States, you will need to complete the arrival confirmation and check-in process. This is required for all students and may affect your ability to enroll in future quarters. Program end date. You must apply for OPT or academic training before graduation. You must also gain admission to another DU program or transfer to another school if you wish for your I-20 to remain active. There is a 60-day grace period after completion of your I-20 program end date if you are an F1 student. There is a 30-day grace period after completion of your program end date for J1 students. If you will not graduate by the end date on your I-20 or DS 2019, you must apply for an extension before that document expires. Violation of status. ISSS is required to terminate SEVIS records for violations, including failure to enroll full-time or dropping below full-time without ISSS approval, working without authorization, failure to maintain required health insurance coverage. This only applies to J1 exchange visitors. USCIS has authority to terminate SEVIS records for failure to report change of name or change of residential address within 10 days through Pioneer Web or directly to ISSS. When in doubt about your status, ask an international student advisor. Alcohol consumption. The legal drinking age in the United States is 21 years old. Even if you are older than 21, you cannot drink on the DU campus. Arrest or conviction for driving under the influence of alcohol can have severe criminal and immigration consequences, including revocation of a visa. Marijuana usage. Colorado and federal law are in conflict on legality of marijuana. Possession and or use of marijuana is illegal under federal law. International students must follow federal law. Consequences for non-US citizens include possible deportation and or prohibition of entry into the United States. Employment overview. Definition of employment. Providing services for compensation, financial or otherwise. Examples of compensation include one-time payment, lunch, tuition, housing, bus pass, or concert tickets. All employment requires authorization. Uncompensated activity is considered volunteering so long as the position does not violate US labor law. On-campus employment. On-campus employment is work performed on DU campus paid by the university, for example, an assistantship or hourly jobs. On-campus employment can also be work performed on the DU campus and paid by commercial firms which provide direct services to DU students. Example, food services and catering, or the bookstore. There is currently a COVID-19 exception allowing students to work remotely for an on-campus position. On-campus job considerations. International students with on-campus jobs are allowed to work up to 20 hours each week during the academic year. Not an average of 20 hours per week. They are never to go over 20 hours in a single week. Students can have more than one job as long as the total hours worked is less than 20 hours a week. Students are allowed to work more than 20 hours per week during vacation term and official school breaks. To find an on-campus job, visit du.edu/pioneercareers and log in with your DU credentials. On your homepage, select OCI and job listings. Under the job type of job filter, select student employment on campus DU as the job type. International students do not qualify for federal work-study positions. On-campus employment process. First, new students must complete the immigration check-in. ISSS must then activate the SEVIS record. Once the SEVIS record is active, there are no additional steps for F1 students. For a J1 student sponsored by DU, you must obtain ISSS, an on-campus work authorization letter. For J1 students sponsored by US agencies, for example, Fulbright or Ford Foundation, must obtain an on-campus employment authorization letter from your sponsor. Once you receive your job offer at DU, you must complete employment eligibility verification with shared services. You must contact payroll services to determine tax residency status. And you must obtain a social security number if this is your first employment in the United States. Social security number. You can only apply for a social security number if you have valid work authorization. Social security numbers are used for income taxes and personal identification. Social security numbers are useful but not mandatory for most business processes. Obtaining social security number. if paid position, must apply through Social Security Administration. You may need to call the Social Security Administration office due to COVID-19 restrictions. There are more details in the employment section of the ISSS website. For on-campus employment, you must request a certification for a Social Security number from ISSS using the document request form. Off-campus employment. Students are eligible to apply for off-campus employment after one academic year, either 2 semesters or 3 quarters, of full-time enrollment in F1 or another valid status. Off-campus employment should begin only after obtaining permission from ISSS or USCIS. Completing the employment eligibility verification, Form I-9, does not authorize you for work in the United States. You will also find employers are often unfamiliar with CPT and OPT rules, so we recommend you speak to ISSS with any questions about off-campus employment. International Student and Scholar Services offers quarterly optional practical training and curricular practical training workshops. In the winter quarter, there will be an OPT information session on January 21st, 2021. There will also be a CPT information session on February 4th, 2021. Check the ISSS Facebook and Instagram pages and your DU email for further information on these workshops and to find the Zoom link. F1 Curricular Practical Training. Students must be enrolled full-time for one academic year unless in a graduate program that requires training in the first year. The position must be related to academic major. Internship must be an integral part of the curriculum, meaning it is required for the degree. Must register for an internship or experiential learning class and provides necessary research or training for thesis or dissertation. A job offer is required before International Student and Scholar Services can authorize your employment. Authorizations can be part-time, up to 20 hours per week, or full-time, more than 20 hours per week. F1 Optional Practical Training. Students must be enrolled full-time for one academic year before they are eligible for OPT. You must also have not worked more than 364 days of full-time CPT at current degree level. You are only eligible if you have not been authorized for OPT at current or higher level degree. OPT authorized by USCIS with recommendation from International Student and Scholar Services. You do not need a job offer to apply. OPT has long processing times, and you can apply up to 90 days before program completion. OPT allows students to work in any position or positions related to major. STEM majors may be eligible for a 24-month extension of OPT. J1 academic training. Students on a J1 visa must have maintained valid J1 status and be in good academic standing, and must have a job offer directly related to their academic major. Duration of academic training cannot exceed 18 months or the duration of your program, whichever is less. Upon completion of a PhD, J1 students become eligible for an additional 18 months of academic training. Final reminders. Make sure to keep your contact details updated. Report all changes of name and address to Pioneer Web within 10 days of that change. Make sure to keep good records. Maintain a file of all your immigration documents, including previous I-20s or DS-2019s. You may never know when you'll need them. The International Student and Scholar Services website also offers resources on driver's licenses and owning a car. So if you have additional questions, please visit the website. Tips to maintain status. Use the ISSS resources. The website contains all the resources required for international students. There are also advisors available to speak with you via Zoom, over email, or over the phone. You can also have alerts sent to your du.edu email account. Do not take immigration advice from others. Always verify with ISSS. Make sure you plan ahead. Do not wait until the last moment to request a document or program extension. You are responsible for protecting your immigration status. Stay informed. Make sure to check your DU email account regularly. Read the Weekly Globe newsletter. Like our Facebook and Instagram page. Thank you for your attention. This is the conclusion of the immigration presentation.